Bad boy, bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the IRS comes for you? Dun, 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 dun. Man, you really got to learn the chorus. Let's get into it. Let's go. Woo! It's the wolf. What's going on, guys? It is your main man in black, and we are on the constitutional track and the legal attack. So, also known as lawfare, but let's get into it. So, as you've read, my most wonderful, beautiful, intelligent, balanced, healthy, well rounded, interesting, and intellectual viewers, clients, friends, countrymen, nationals, state citizens, and non residents alike, let's get into it. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. As always, hit that bell, like, subscribe. Don't forget, donations are welcome and optional on blacksite32.com. We've updated it with some new logos, some new files and things, free files, services, charities. We've got some of that on there. Um, we also have James C. Lovett, which now links directly to the living in the private videos and courses. Some of those are still free through the holidays or and after the holidays for a limited time, so go and check those out. As always, everything is education, entertainment purposes only. And other than that, we are still winning our court cases. We are doing some processes right now. We will tell you how they turn out once they are done. We have gotten some trolls off of our site. We have gotten some people's YouTube pages shut down and certain videos pulled down talking trash. Well, thank you to those people out there who hit those defamation, do not like the video, bullying and slandering against people out there who are trying to be against me and your rights and freedoms. So thank you guys in advance. We've done some miraculous things. Lots of private consultations where we've been able to help people in various walks of life, not just what you see here, but some of the things I talk about on my other YouTube channel, which is Badwolf Unrestricted. So join us over there. I think we're almost at 5,000. So help me to get to five. And then, of course, the next big goal is 10. All right. So with this channel, we are at 88. So the goal for 2026 is to get that 100,000. If we should be really close by the end of the year. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to add about 12,000 people over the next 12 months, so about 1,000 a month. So help me to get there, and thank you in advance. Once it is accomplished, it's going to go right there. That's why I got this little spot cleared out for them. A little placky plaque. That'll probably be the only one we'll get. Let's be honest. I don't foresee the channel getting to 500,000. There's just not enough people interested in this, yeah, or have found me and are interested in this. But I appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, all right, for helping me to make it this far and for pushing me to continue. So thank you in advance and the support because I couldn't do it without the financial support, the views, the clicks, the sharing, all of that. Now, let's get into the video. Enough said. All right. So this particular video is about what was it, a bug or something. I got some new plants from my cousin. So um, if you see me looking around like a cat or a wolf at something that's not really there, don't forget I am a little crazy. But there's little bugs because they come out of the dirt. Anyway, so this particular video, as you've read, if you can read, and if not, let me know. I'll try to see what I can do for you in Braille or possibly some other language of form of communication. But this particular video is about the IRS. Now, we have to get some things clear on this because people are like, yeah, I watched your video and I sent it in. And though most people are getting the positive results, let's talk about why the people out there are not getting the same results because here's one of the biggest problems. A lot of people out there watch one of my right to travel videos, watch one of my IRS videos, and they don't understand what they're doing wrong. Well, I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. It's not the process, it's because some of you are trying to shortcut the whole process itself. With the IRS, first of all, everything out there, guys, is a contract. Okay? Con means to fool, tract is to gain ground. Every time you put your name on something, believe you me this. It is to fool you. It is to take something from you. You have far more power, equity, and position than you realize. On your worst day, you are still valuable. On your worst day, you are essentially still a multimillionaire in their system. Even if you were unalived, your body, your parts, your name is still worth a lot of money to these people on your worst day. And you don't know it. You don't even know your power. You don't know who you are. And that's what they're banking on. So every time you put your John Hancock or your James C. Badwolf on something, you're generating either credit or you are granting permissions. Yeah, there's an S there. Permissions to many different things you don't even know or understand, and definitely don't overstand. So every time you filled out a 1040 and a W2, W4 or whatever, any of the normal forms, anything. So we're going to focus on this. I'm just giving you an overview right there, but we're going to now zoom in to IRS. So it's no different. The IRS is a subsidiary of the Treasury. The Treasury itself is a real government and bureau, but the IRS is not. They are like at the hip connected, but they're essentially um, foreign contractor, third party debt collector for the Treasury. Okay, but they're like right up in here with them. All right. So, but they're no different. They are operating under contract and assumptions. When you filled out any one of your first forms, okay? Now, you can disagree with this as education, so do your own research, feel how you want to feel, move how you want to move, as I try to say in all of my videos. But here's my overstanding of it. Generally, we should almost all, if you're going to be truly operating in national capacity versus your U.S. citizenship status, because you have both by law. 8 U.S.C. 1401, 8 U.S.C. 8 U.S.C. 1101A 22B. You have both. If you're truly operating in your national capacity, then you shouldn't really be asking for or utilizing any benefits. This should be done also with your given private name, and you should be in a contractor or a 1099 type capacity when working any normal job, because then the taxes aren't taken out. Why? And they leave that up to you and the government to figure out. Because if you're a national, you shouldn't be charged taxes and all the rest of those benefits and privileges that come along because you're a national. When you say you're a national, you're saying you're a king. You are sovereign over your own nation, which is your last name. Your last name is a nation. The area you grew up in has a republic nation in the organic, All of the people who are born in Florida are Floridians. Arizona is Arizonans, but your last name is your nation. So yes, you belong to all the Arizonans, but your last name is your tribe. Okay? Your first and middle name together are your Native American true given or private name. When you use your first and last name and sometimes your middle initial, that is a legal name for the U.S. citizen that you have the ability to, by law, put that mask on, operate in their public world of commerce. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not illegal. You have both. You can be Batman and Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent and Superman. It's okay. You can be both. You don't see, you just were living your life with underneath one identity. You were the fake identity. But let me ask you, which one's the real identity? Clark Kent or Superman? Which one's the fake one? Clark Kent, of course. Batman and Bruce Wayne. Which one is the real one? Which one's the fake one? The fake one would be Bruce Wayne. So you've been living just like that in your fake persona, which is a legal person, your name in all capitalized letters on the state level and lower. So when you and your parents co-mingled those things, co-assigned and authorized those things, and you got your job, and you listen to the HR lady tell you, well, oh, everybody's a U.S. citizen, so just check that, the stuff that they were told to tell you since day two. You then put down your sovereign tax exempt private side. You utilize the Social Security number, which, when done and used properly, can go either way for taxable or tax exempt things if you know what you're doing. So they caused you to utilize and convince them, prove residency, to reside and enter, to res your identity from the private to the public. And when you use that then public mask, you became the 14th Amendment legal person, multiple legal personality disorder, your doppelganger, your ens legis, your straw man, your nom de gore. Your state created business identity for public use as a member of theirs. Just like a police officer puts on his uniform and he becomes that person. Well, when you take and use anything with your all caps name, except for the government level and higher, okay, or private things, you became that person. Essentially, it was a mask that looked damn near identical to how you look, but it had certain features that showed and told them attributes that you were their property. Maybe it was just your face with some demon horns on it. Looked just like you, but with horns. You became that demon, that public thing, that monster, that hue man, hue, spectrum of a man, has the form of a man. A legal person has the form of a man, but has different characteristics, privileges, and benefits, so given and so can be taken away, unlike the real version of you. So when you put that on and started working and filled out your W-4 and your 1040 and your whatever, whatever, well, those were documents and keywords like employee, employer, wages, income. Those are words and terminology for a public 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, then so entitled to benefits and privileges that come along with it. Unlike the 1099 and etc. contract designation for nationals and private citizens. They're giving you all of your money, which is what you should be getting. Benefits and privileges are for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens and those who are either under the age of majority or over the age of majority and not competent. You have a form of disability. You are a orphan, you're little orphan Annie as far as the state and the government is concerned. They're taking care of you. You can't handle your own affairs. You don't know how to save your own money. So they take care of you because you're disabled. Right. But that's what you didn't know. When you join their world, there's only three positions. Either you're one of them, which you're not, unless you're a police officer, judge, postal worker, etc., anybody who works in public and gets paid from the state or government, or you're their boss inside the system. But what you really are when utilizing that name and their stuff in the system is subservient. You are then a product, an employee, the janitor, the low level functionary, cannon fodder, product, slave, member, to be governed by all then those above you, which is everybody. Even creating a business has more power than you, as you pretending to be a dead thing in their world. But you still have power because you're still connected to the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. It's all still there. But you're waiving them temporarily while you're in there, but they're not completely gone. They're just 95% not there because you're poking your hand or your finger, your body in, oh, so bad, into their bubble, but you're not piercing their bubble to actually be one of them. So it's almost like you're putting on a glove. That's what the straw man is. You're pushing into their bubble, and it's a tiny thin layer. You can feel around, you can pick up dog crap, you can mine for gold, all that stuff, but you're not truly in their world because you're not one of them. You don't pierce that bubble until you become actually elected or voted into office or become a public trustee like one of them. Most of us were not meant to even do that. We were supposed to stay completely the hell on the private side, but they didn't. They lured us in. They were the guy or the girl in the van with candy. Well, not getting in the van with the guy, but maybe with a couple girls in there, that'd be fine. Hmm. Reminds me of a story when we were at a bar and my one guy, Tim, got into a van with a whole bunch of half crazy girls and one Native American chick who wanted to take advantage. Anyway, so um, when you first did those things and filled out those forms, you told them, "I am one of you," and they said, "Well, you can be one of us. Prove it to us. Get us a piece of mail with your all capitalized name on it. Give me your birth certificate issued from the state." But you didn't even come in at the same level as them. You came in underneath. So when you did that and the IRS seen that, they said, okay, you are then one of them. You need to pay taxes. So now here you are. Let's fast forward. Now you think, because you watched the video or whatever else, that you know the whole story, the whole puzzle. And you just decided to stop paying taxes. No, you can't just stop paying taxes. It is a contractual obligation. You have to change the contract. See, they're not going to let you just stop because you're already in the contract, and they're not going to just delete your account. So you must either change the account or create a new account to work through. But you can't just stop. That's not how their membership works. You can't just tell them, here's my revocation of election. Cute. I remember my first beer. I actually don't. But anyway, I do remember my first moonshine though. That was a long 3 days. Um, so what can you do? What can't you do? Well, you cannot just stop and say, "Oh, well, I'm good. I mailed my thing off to the IRS." So if I wasn't clear enough, or you're watching other people's videos and they weren't clear enough, the revocation of election does not allow you to just mail that in. It is giving them notice that you are probably going to stop paying taxes. But why haven't a lot of people been like bothered and harassed up until like this year and whatever else? Because compliance cannot catch up with everybody. There are millions of people and businesses out there. They can't catch up with everybody. So understand, if you have not done your stuff properly, technically and legally, it's only a matter of time. Luckily for us, they make a lot of money and they really shouldn't have a ton of overhead. So I don't know where all that money's going to. But if they were smart, they would spend the money on a supercomputer, and then the supercomputer AI would be able to go through everything and then track down each person and get the letters and all that kind of stuff out there. And even still, there's going to be some slop and some mess because address changes, deaths, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it'll never be a perfect system. So you can't just do that. So where does the revocation of election really kick in? And then why should we get it? Okay. Why should you get it? Well, if you get any revocation of election pack, either mine or one off the internet or somebody else's or whatever else, what's generally or should be in there are all of the forms you should be using, or one of the forms, or combinations of the form, depending on what you do for a living, etc. That are used at your job to be tax exempt. If you do everything right, but they still want to bother you, you can use that form to send it in directly to the IRS. It will help. But also, you'll need to send with that their forms. Because, see, you're convincing them here are certain laws, here are certain court cases or Supreme Court opinions. Here are all the legal and lawful reasons as to why I should not have to and do not have to pay taxes. Now, I do have in-depth videos on jamesclovett.com that you guys can pay view. All right. So it's the same price basically as doing a consultation with me. All right. So it's invaluable. I go into full depth, not just what I'm giving you guys here. Here, you get a good general overview. So probably about 50, 60% of the knowledge to get onto the ship, so to speak. But those videos go all the way in depth so that, educationally speaking, of course, for entertainment purposes and use, private, indefinitely, indubitably. Um, but those will help you, and it'll help you master what this is, not just know that you have options and some rudimentary ways of dealing with it. So those revocation packs have enough punch that you can use those and be successful in court fighting them with their own stuff. But where does the rubber actually meet the road? Well, the true revocation of election is what you're doing at your employer. But why? So the government, when that agency or municipality or whatever else, but in this case, it's the IRS. Okay, so when that third-party debt collector came into be. It was approved and all that other good stuff and brought on board, yada yada. They got an EIN from the government. Yes, even they themselves got an EIN. All of them have an EIN because they're doing business. And if they're doing it in the public, then that's commercial, it's commerce. And even if they wanted to be a government agency, the moment that any government whatsoever operates in anything that is commercial based, they reduce and lose their status as such and are to be treated as nothing more than a corporation. Okay? Read this in the court case. So they then started issuing EINs. Your employer got an EIN as an employer to employ, which that word could be considered to be military, okay, or maritime. And they then trusted through that arrangement for your employer to be regarded as a withholding agent. Some of y'all know what that is, some of y'all don't. Some of y'all know what the power of that is, some of y'all don't. Some of y'all, if you watch some other videos on jameslovett.com, know how powerful it is and educationally how you can use it depending on what scenario you're in. That's all I will say. Well, that being said, so your employer is the withholding agent. They're the ones who are supposed to make sure that whatever declaration you provide them, as long as they accept it, but they're supposed to 95% accept whatever you give them. But what are you giving them? Well, you have the option: private, citizen, national information, tax exempt, or taxable public 14th Amendment U.S. citizen stuff. I wonder which one most people give them. Wonder which other one they're not used to getting. Hmm. So you've been making the choice. You've been making an election. That's why it's called a revocation of the election. The IRS, this is in their terminology. It's in their Internal Revenue Manual. I'm not making this up. I just read that long, boring ass shit. But I do find it fascinating. So there's that. So you've been making an election to pay taxes, but that doesn't mean that once you've started, because now that you're on their radar, you're in their books, you can't just stop. You have to change how you're viewed for financial purposes with your employer. And then your employer is supposed to accept it. And as long as you're not doing anything criminal, they have to accept what you give them. Otherwise, it's a lawsuit. It's a court case and fines from your equal opportunity employer. The government. You can take them to the federal court and sue them. Now, depending on how you want to move, that's up to you. All right. But if they give you a hard time by trying to update your information, there are other methods that are, once again, legal that you can use to still yet be tax exempt for everybody basically out there. But you got to set it up correctly. I know how to do that. If that's something you need, okay, then you're going to have to go to Blacksite 32 and set up a consultation. We can talk about it for educational and private use only, as we've done so for many, many years now. So you cannot just stop, but you can update or create something new to operate. Remember, it's just a mask that you are using. So you can either create a new mask or update the one that you have in there properly. And that's why I have other videos on how to be tax exempt. You can watch those videos. And if you want the full Monty, That's jamesclovett.com. Go there. There's IRS videos that you can watch. All right. But yeah, you cannot. You can even ask a good friend of mine, Sherry Peel Jackson. She used to work for the IRS, used to prosecute people and small businesses doing these things. Now, of course, she's on our side, but she did 5 years and she used to work for them because she woke up and found that there was no positive law forcing anybody and everybody to pay taxes, but U.S. citizens. But the IRS has a code that says if you know how to pre-plan your event. So, like one of the people that emailed me, right? They said, Wolf, I followed your stuff, blah, 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 and sent them the forms, but they sent me a form that said, I need to provide more information. Well, first of all, I don't answer email questions for free anymore. All right. I've done hundreds of thousands of them over the years. I don't do that anymore. But I said you can do a consult or you can watch these videos. All right. I'm tired of giving away everything free and people aren't even sending me in donations. I get like two people maybe a month. And so shout out to Ramen, he's one of them out there. Yeah, to do that, taking time away from my family and you know my lady and friends and my own personal just whatever to answer 200 or 300 emails a day. Nah, sorry. I've done that. I earned the respect and admonishment that I do know what I am doing. Okay. So I might answer, but don't be mad if I don't. Okay. Generally, I'm going to ignore about 90% of them unless they're either paid for questioning or it's consultation. I mean, if you deal with anybody else, I guarantee you're generally, unless you got a really cool friend who's going to give it to you for free and they've been studying this, but even they probably paid for it, or they read the books like me, which is still time. The time it takes to read all these things and whatever else and learn is still, it still has a value. Money or time. Time is money, right? So you can't just not pay. You have to update your employer and you have to pre-plan your event. So you can't just be like, well, I didn't want to pay last year, and then so starting now, and I'm not saying this is what that person exactly did because I didn't have enough information to give a logical and coherent answer. So, but if in fact they worked like normal, just didn't want to pay this year and started to do that, that's not how it works. Whenever you decide that it's now that I want to be tax exempt, you have to then make the changes with your employer. You can't just work all year, get to the end, and be like, yeah, you know what? I don't really want to pay. I don't want to pay the IRS. No, mm-mm. No. Ask Sherry Peel Jackson how that worked out. It's not good. And they especially made an example out of her because she worked for them, and they knew that her voice and word would go a whole lot farther if she continued to do what she wanted to do. So to slow her down, they went after her and found her guilty because she, even though she worked there, didn't know all of the intricacies that go on in there and some of the things that I share with you guys now on this channel. So we're not doing anything secret or special sauce. It's all in their manual, all in their books. Almost all of it's online for every agency. Though some of them hide the good stuff. But if you do enough research, you can get done basically anything you want because before they've changed and hid a lot of it, already put a lot of that stuff out here. So even if they do change it or try to hide it, guess what? It's still there. They can't get rid of the remedies by law. And if they hide the remedies and you do a lawsuit on them to stand on your freedoms and rights, you can put obfuscation down there that they're hiding the information and sue them for a little bit more money on that too. Now, why don't they want you to do these things? Well, that's the easy part. It's money. Almost all of this comes down to money at the end of the day. They're making so much overage But what's still funny is that they're making way more money than they should be. If you really think about it, the only people who should be making tax payments are 14th Amendment U.S. citizens, which are very few in number, which literally only really means people born in the District of Columbia, anybody who works in the public, so your magistrates, lawyers, police officers, postal workers. That's it. And people like them in the public industry. That's it. Anybody who serves the public like that for the government or the state. That is it. So they're making tons and tons and tons of money off of we the people, and we don't even realize it. They're double, triple, quadruple dipping all across the board, almost all of them. But some of that money does go to some projects. Some of the money disappears. We'll leave that alone. Um, so if everybody were to wake up and realize what's going on and not, a lot of these systems would end up collapsing on themselves, like the little old lady, where's the beef? Which was super popular back in what, the 80s, I think it was, late 80s, because there wouldn't be enough money to support all these campuses and things of that nature. And then with all the extra money that goes missing, um, they suddenly are going to have to tighten their belt and provide a quality service. So they don't want that. And whether you like Trump or not, I don't really care. I just look at all things that everybody does, good, bad, and otherwise. And the smartest thing, seeing how we are the most wealthiest country and powerful country in the world, we should have a standard of just tariffs on the import export and let other countries, instead of us paying so much money to put our products in other countries, which is stupid. They want our shit anyway. They can't get enough of our shit. So they should be paying for it. At one point in time, it would have been smart to do that to then get our stuff, get our foot in the door in all these markets. But our foot's in the door of all these markets now. Why are we still paying to be there? We need to charge them, but appropriately, not try to bankrupt them. And if we did that, we would be making 3 or 4 times easily the amount of money that they're getting from us, the taxpayers. You think about the amount of people that are here compared to all around the world that want our products and services. That's like 4 to 10 times the amount easily. So instead of making us more poor and keeping us crippled, why don't we just charge the world? Argentina wants to charge us 5%. Okay, we'll pay 5%. We'll charge them, you know, 10. Now we're making 5%. Yeah, we'll give you your 5. We're going to get 10 from you. Okay, and then they're like, well, we won't charge you anything. Cool, we'll still charge you 5. They want our stuff. They need us more than we need them. That's how the real business world. See, some of y'all people out there get so mad at what's going on because you guys don't see the games and understand that's what they are, and you have never really done business. The business world and how you have to think and how you have to move is not the same as your personal life. If you ran your business like if you ran your personal life like a business, it might be a little colder, but you wouldn't have half the problems. Half you dudes would not be lost half your shit in marriage. Half you chicks would not have so many bodies on you and tons of dirtbag baby daddies because you'd be looking at it and going, well, what actually do you have to bring to the table? What can you do to benefit me? What do you have that's equal or greater consideration? I need to lock you into a contract. So you're not going to just have sex with me unless you sign this agreement that if I get pregnant, which by the way, guys can't, but we'll leave that alone for now. Um, you're going to pay for this. If you have an STD that you haven't, matter of fact, we're going to get tested before we even have sex. That's how you would do business. Business is far different than personal life stuff. But y'all have never done business. You've done personal stuff, and you think that and don't get me wrong, you're handling your life the way you see fit, and oh, I'm just living by emotion, and la, 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 and I'll figure it out. No, there is none of that in business. Business is not about emotion or just figuring it out as you go. You have to have a plan and a backup plan and an exit strategy for that. A lot of y'all have never even heard half the terms I just said, and your life proves it. But we'll leave that alone. That's more for Black Site or Bad Wolf Unrestricted on my other YouTube channel. So you cannot just stop paying. You have to set yourself up for success. Do you need a revocation of election document and all that? No. But you definitely have to have your stuff corrected at your employer. If your employer tries to rebut you or deny that's when the revocation of election documents come into play. The IRS does the same thing. That's when that would come into play. But do you need those? No. But do they help? Yes. Do you need to find and have the correct paper files that I've made videos on and how to articulate who and what you are? That, yes, you need all of it. And if you have all of that, then you're even better. You're even more solid. But you cannot just fill out quickly a W8BN or 15103 or a 8233 or 673 or any of those and just think that that magically makes your obligation. Sometimes you actually have an obligation to pay taxes. If you've been telling them you're a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen and you've done nothing to pre-plan on how to not pay taxes from this point forward, and then that year comes and you've already done all of this and you're now here, then yes, you can then say, well, here are my reasons. Here's the paperwork. Here are the files. Here's your files. Why I don't have to. And then they leave you alone. But you cannot work, stop, and then say, well, I'm just not going to pay all this. I be knowing some shit. WABN saved my life. 151 saved my life. It's not how it works. Because once again, you guys don't understand business. A lot of you guys don't. You don't know how to do commerce. So people like me and certain other people, that's what we're trying to do, is teach you how to do all this right. And that is why they call you incompetent or a sovereign citizen, which of course legally there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. It's an oxymoron. You can't be a king and a slave at the same time. So now that you know that, you have to know that the revocation is not retroactive. But do you want me to be honest with you? You want a gem drop? Have people with either me or using the methods I've taught sued certain companies and gotten their taxes back? Yeah, because you were never taught or told by them. Of course, you also technically did not ask, but you signed away your things to become taxable under duress, fraud, coercion, which is theft, also included. So, yeah, you can be successful and get all your taxes back. Or you can use legal methods to get some of your money back from those taxes. There's lots of different things you guys can do out there. Like I said, I give you guys the pieces in these videos. It's up to you to decide what you want to use. And as always, seek a licensed and professional and vet my information as well. Do your own due diligence with everybody, especially most other people. Some people are good. Some people got some snaky ass pasts and things, and they'll get you messed up. They don't care about you. They just want you to hit that bell like subscribe so they can try to get that YouTube money. So now you guys hopefully understand a lot more of this is that the revocation of election is not retroactive. You're canceling or changing the contract today. And then once you have proof that you've done that today, moving forward, you're good. But if you go to another job and you get another employer, you have to do the same thing there. You're not just tax exempt across the board. That's for receiving money. If you're trying to buy things tax exempt, you have to go to the state and get a tax exempt ID for that particular type of financial transaction. Those are two separate things. Receiving and buying are two separate financial transactions. Also, some states will tell you that if you're exempt on the federal level, you're exempt on the state level, but that is not all of the states. Some of them don't just give you that grace. So if you want to be tax exempt on the state level in receiving money, then you also must maneuver your things accordingly and correctly. There's remedy for all of these things out there. That's what I did my entire life. I grew up with business owners and um, people in the fraternities and people in the mafia and different mafias. And I was just like, how are you not paying taxes? Or, they'd be like, this is, woo woo. And I'm like, oh, that's illegal. So then I would research and I'm like, here's how you do it the legal way, and then anywhere else I wanted to be VIP or get the special treatment, I just studied it. If one other person can do it, if an average person can do it, then I want to be able to do it too. So I researched every single thing across the board that affects my daily life. That's why my channel's popular, because what I present is information converted from hard to understand to you overstanding it, and then it makes every one of you guys, all of my videos, if you use them correctly, your existence on the daily makes it easier just that much for you. Are there crazier, wilder things out there that are fanciful and some people have the right information and some don't on, access the trust and, get all the money from your bonds and all this other stuff. Yeah, there is truth to all of that. But do you think everybody can get that? Do you not think that they don't have checks and balances in place? Well, but I'm special. I'll just this one guy has got a package for 2,500, and I just got to pay it, and then I'll get. But they're not showing you that they have it. Let me tell you something. Most of the people that are really real about that stuff, once they gain access to it, their own stuff, they don't need your money. Why are they not just giving it away for free then? If they have this damn near unlimited access to this account, why do they need your money? Why aren't they showing you their unlimited bank account, their black cards, and all the other stuff? Why aren't they using the correct terminology? Do you think that they just give you a whole bunch of cash? No, it's credit. So stop just listening to everybody and take your time and do your own research. Take what they're putting out, ask yourself common sense questions. They're not showing you, most of these guys, and it's usually mostly guys, not showing you their real face, their real name. They don't even have a website with anything about them on it. They're not showing you their bank account. They're not showing you how things have to be linked and what's linked. But they'll show stacks of money over here and they'll talk real big. You can get stacks of money off of Amazon. If I really wanted to snow people, my God, I would be a good, what do you call, scammer. But you go to Amazon, you just buy a whole bunch of fake money. That's what most of them are doing. They're buying movie theater money, just sitting in the background. Yeah. And then they start to make enough money from you where then they don't really need that so much. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you the honest truth, and I'm not trying to sound like the government here or anything like that. You don't need to be wealthy to have a good life. You don't need to have the hottest chick to have a good life. You don't need to have um, a 6 foot, 6 pack, 6 inch, six figures, man or male to have a good life. Same thing in Hollywood. They are pushing on you guys stuff that's unattainable. They want to isolate you guys as individuals. They don't want you to work together. They want everybody to fight, and they want you all running for the hoop dreams of being a wealthy multimillionaire and living this extravagant. Hey, Bish, I got the bag. Man, I fucked all the hoes. I got 20 bodies on me, so what? You should just like me how I'm is. What you mean what I bring to the table? It is all trash. I know it because I fell for that shit long time ago when I was younger as well. It's good marketing. I don't even no that. But hey, it's your own life. You guys will have to figure some of that out for yourselves. And on this path, okay, to whatever is lying in the beyond that we're all heading for, there are people on the side of the road that are NPCs that are always supposed to be there to try to lure you off the path. So either you're somebody who's going to be an NPC, or you're somebody who's going to learn to wake up from being an NPC, or somebody who's going to be lured a little bit, fall off the path, and then get back on it. But whatever it is, it's still going to be your story. But I'm giving you guys the gems to help you get to where you need to be. But keep listening to the people who tell you there's something good behind the barn, and they're the only ones with it. If they really have it, they're going to be traveling and gone. You're not even going to be able to access them. They're going to have other people in place. Why? Because that's what I would do. If I had full control over all that stuff, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to have you run it. I'll just pay you, funnel people in. We'll make some money off of them, give them a little bit, and then, tell them, oh, you must have done something wrong. Oh, oh, does that sound familiar? Or people not making their consultations, people feeling that they got scammed off by your universities or your schools or whatever. So just be careful out there, guys. All I'm trying to say. So, but I digress. Once again, you cannot just stop paying taxes. You have to maneuver yourself into filling out the forms with your employer, who's the withholding agent, correctly, or create the proper entity to then run your compensation through. I've said this in multiple videos. If you want to know how to do that, said the second part, and you don't know how to do it correctly, jamesclovett.com, or we can do a consultation, or watch enough of my videos. It's really all in there. It's in pieces. But if you want it all together, custom thing for you, and even if you do have legitimate taxes, like the person in my email box, right? Let's say you do have legitimate, there's ways to deal with that. That's why I tell people when they email me like that, like, it's probably best we do a consultation so that I can see what you have going on, what you did, what you didn't do, and then give you all of the methods that are legal based on the IRS that you guys can do. But you can't simply just stop paying and think that, oh, well, they ain't going to do nothing, or I'm the, yes, they will. They will garnish your paychecks. They will take your stuff. They will take money out of your bank account because all that stuff is done under your U.S. citizen name. So, though there are checks and balances in place that they are supposed to abide by, and when they do most of that kind of stuff, it is illegal and a federal violation, and they themselves can be sued for it. But a lot of you guys don't even know that either. The way the straw man was supposed to be used in a nutshell, oh, look at me, I'm in a bloody nutshell, is that it was always supposed to be a vessel, a suit of armor, and a mask. You use it in their world, and then you take from there and you put it into the private world where it's safe. But the straw man has pockets on it. The straw man has a straw man basket behind it with its name on it. So when you're mining gold and putting it on your suit of armor and you're putting it in your basket, all of that is still yet they can reach over and take it off of you and out of your basket because all that stuff belongs to them. But if it was in past the golden private gates of a national, it's invisible. They can't see it. They can't touch it. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. So, as always, guys, if you're listening to some guy or girl or whoever else out there and they're not telling you to check and research your own work, check and vet the work even that I'm talking about, then there's something wrong there. Because the truth and something that works can stand the test of time. It can be tested. It's not afraid to be questioned. Anybody who overtalks you is trying to talk you out of something. And if somebody's going to generally make a deal with you, it's because you are bringing more value than you realize to them or to the event or to the table. And for love of God, ladies, when a guy says, "What are you bringing to the table?" He's talking about what intrinsic value can you bring to make his world better. And don't say Pussy, because every girl has that. Hell, there's even some dudes who have that now. And seeing how a majority of the population are female compared to males, guys are actually, and especially great guys, are in the minority. I'll let you figure that out. Sorry, but numbers matter. Truth matters, even if it hurts. So, with that being said, guys, that is it for this video. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And if you guys want more hardcore, solid truth, and you're not afraid of the light of reality, because there's no islands called delusional over here. Maybe weird. Might have some weird islands, but not sketchy islands. We don't do that. Then check me out over on my other YouTube channel, Badwolf Unrestricted, or my other social media platforms. I'll talk to you guys later. This is your daily dose of truth from the man in black, bringing it to you, Bad Wolf. I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully, you guys like my new logos. Check out Blacksite 32 and my other channels. Tell me what you think. I'll talk to you guys later.